Hi guys, so I'm going to start with the Mystical Shaman Oracle, of course, because, I love it. And it's a funny story. If you notice, all of these oracles add up to 5. Well, the 5 ends up being 10, but still, it's just 5s. And what makes me laugh about that is because when I first went to go pull my cards, I don't know, something about the reading, I was like, I don't want to do that because I was kind of getting the same message. But when I look back, it was more of like a personal thing. But I was kind of being like, kind of cocky, because when I pulled these ones, like when I went to go pull the second card, it didn't quite fall out of my deck. And when I do it, like I either take flippers or I take ones that fall out. And it kind of like sauntered out, kind of like, is that good enough for you? I don't know. I just thought it was funny. If other readers, you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so the first one we got is a Luminous Warrior, number 32. And I love it because if you look at the cards in this deck and you look at the messages that are in here, it's just freaking beautiful. And even with the Astro dice, I threw that in too because I was like, you know what, I haven't used that in a while. Anyway, back on track. So we have number 32, Luminous Warrior. It reminds me so much of Peaceful Warrior, which is ironic because that's what came out in one of the Herbal Astrology oracles. I just think it's amazing. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, man, I really should do this like live. But a lot of times the reason why I do my readings this way is just because I'm at work and the way I have time, because I have 3 kids at my house and I'm trying to squeeze time in to do things. And I'm going to try and make specific time for things like this. But anyway, so sorry if I lost you. So the Luminous Warrior has no enemies in this world or the next. He is impeccable in word and deed. He focused on his light rather than what hides in the dark. Since he casts no shadow, he is as radiant as the sun, and the sun's in this reading. Oh, this is just amazing. And can transform his most terrible enemy into his ally. His power comes not from the sword, but from speaking his truth at all costs. This is just a beautiful reading. I'm almost going to cry. Anyway, and the invitation says, the Luminous Warrior reminds you that it is important to focus on your power, wisdom, and beauty. Do not be seduced by what seems wrong with you or with the world. Remember that intention follows attention. So focus your positive traits. Feed your light with more light until you feel truly empowered. Then there will be little need for action as you resolve all situations from within. Oh, that's so beautiful. Anyway, so that kind of reminds me of like where we end up on this reading. That one where it says there will be little need for action as you resolve all situations from within. So, and I kind of find this interesting because this kind of reminds me of a moment, and I talked a little bit about this in a comment that I left on, I can't remember what it was, but I think I shared it. This woman who was talking about, there's no need for spiritual protection, and she explained why. And I have a similar belief that it's literally what you allow. And, I have this whole thing where I feel like demons are, those are your inner demons. It's things that you have to work on. It's not something outside of you that can harm you. But we'll go to number 2 of the deck, which is number 5. I don't know why I called it number 2, the Beloved. And the essence of this card says, the Beloved is the recognition of spirit in another and moving towards spirit through the other. It is when the divine appears to us in the form of our child, our partner, our friend, and we experience being in love. As we grow, we start to recognize the Beloved in everyone, not confusing their personality with their divine nature. And it says to accept the invitation to learn through the path of love. Expand your being through the union with another. When you recognize the Beloved in another, you call forth their highest and purest nature. Follow the path of love. And that's just beautiful, right? I mean, why isn't that beautiful? It just is. And, to go along with, that spiritual warrior type energy, it's about, fighting for what's right with, but by showing and accepting and, doing good, as cheesy as that sounds, that's what it is. And I thought, I'll pull some Astro dice today. And we got, Uranus and Cancer in the 10th house. So what do we think of when we think of Uranus? Oh, not only just because it's funny to say and we're all essentially 13, but this is that out-of-the-box, innovative, humanitarian type of energy. And so we put that in the 10th house, which is your house of, your work, your life, purpose in a way. This is where your MC is. And so we have that, and then we mix that with the energy of Cancer, which is really about your home and, your connections with that and your personal day-to-day life in that way, and your nurturing part of yourself. So this totally feels like very much the same thing as, our first oracle card. It's about that gentleness in that spiritual warrior. It's fighting for the right thing, but fighting it with love, right? We're just like Care Bears, and our tummies are just sharing the love with everybody. As cheesy as that sounds, I just think that's so beautiful. And the beloved, it's, being able to see the struggle in others and coming down to their level, not at a point to where it undermines our own mental health and our own sense of worth, right? But that's what that first card is about. It's about being a whole person. Like, I love to say that all the time. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody, but I say that because you can't love another person if you're not, whole in loving yourself. And it's a huge part of what's wrong with a lot of people today. And then we have two herbal astrology oracles. We have Palo Santo, and that one, I believe that's 55, isn't it? Why, yes, it is. I'm so sorry. But anyway, so this is South Node in Pluto. So South Node is that energy of your past life. It's what you bring with you when you go on this journey. And not what you're trying to get rid of, but it's what you've kind of like mastered in a way. You come with skills with that. And so with your North Node, you're supposed to kind of incorporate that together. So if you have that in Pluto, this is somebody that you've kind of mastered that ability to be in the depths. And there's a lot of spirituality to Pluto too. It's being able to, deal with those deep feelings and those changes and that transformation energy, right? So when you mix that with your North Node or your South Node, it's like, you've been through that. So you're able to bring that to the table. It gives you a different understanding. So if you look at Palo Santo, a lot of spiritual ceremonies, like in the Incan Empire, like when they did that, it was calling on that sacred energy of the ancestors. So a lot of this really does feel like that. We're kind of being guided. And if you've been watching my readings the last couple of days, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like there's this sacredness, this deep shamanism feel to it, where we're being called from, call it your past lives, call it like, the lower world beings that are kind of giving us that push, that earth energy that's telling us like, hey, the world needs this right now and you have this. So we're asked to kind of use those gifts. And so again, Palo Santo, like if you look at the keywords, there are things like, gifts from past lives again, right? Activating dormant gifts, connecting to the ancestors, guardian of the sacred, and sacred trickster. So I did a reading a couple days ago, and it was about the coyote, which is the sacred trickster. This is somebody who, it's not somebody, but it's like an energy that gives you things that kind of throws in your path that kind of test you, right? If you are somebody who's ever taken like a nursing exam, it's kind of like, when you go to take your nursing exam, like you're expecting like answers that are like A equals B, blah, blah, blah. No, usually it's like critical thinking. So think of this like, this is somebody's testing you, an energy that's testing you on your critical thinking and spirituality. What a weird analogy, but I'm sorry. I'm a nurse. It's just what that means to me. And then we have actually spiritual warrior in milk thistle, and that comes to number 5 again, because that's 23, right? So milk thistle is Mars and the moon as far as herbal astrology goes. So that's kind of like that, passionate, like ambitious energy of like Mars, but then you also have like that nurturing and watery feeling of the moon. And if you look at, what that can mean in, as far as like a spiritual warrior, this is somebody who has that passion and that drive and that need to protect, but they're also doing it because of loving reasons. They're not going out there and like just for the sake of the fight. The fight has meaning behind it. This is fighting for the things that you believe in. This is fighting for your beliefs. This is fighting for a cause, right? All these energies that we're talking about, like Uranus and, all this beautiful energy is about fighting for the right to be you, right? This is the person that's out there, petitioning for better rights for people. This is somebody who is out there trying to, give meals to the homeless, that type of thing. Their actions are out of love. And not to say that some of the more, action-based things are not out of love. It's just, there's not a hatred. There's just the understanding of the need. And that's where that comes from. So if you look at my first row or my first column, we have the Fool and we have the Sun. And, for me, I think that the Fool doesn't mean that it's a very beginning. This is somebody who is at the beginning of a different part of their journey, right? Their journey is not ever going to end. I believe it never does. It just goes and it goes. And so we have the Sun, and the Sun is like, happiness. This is somebody who has a passion for the journey. And I resonate with that so well. This is somebody who is, whether it be a person or a collective, this is the concept of your path, spirituality, or your belief system, or something that, you consider your passion is your passion. It's not just something that, I'm going to do this today. This is like, I'm excited. I get to do this today, right? I resonate with it so much. I know I keep saying that, but this is why I'm all excited and hyped up. And so we have the Two of Wands and we have the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles and the Two of Wands are very much about ambition and excitement for, again, like the adventure, right? And I feel like this is saying, being our column of what we need to work on, I feel like we need to allow that, that passion and that excitement and learn as much as we can, right? Learn as much as you can about it and then just go forth with that and maybe do a little bit of planning. Maybe there's too much passion. I don't know. But I feel like there's a lot to do with, allowing that to guide you, allowing that passion to drive you towards, education and understanding and diving deep into the exploration of these things so you can live your purpose and help people at the same time. And so we have our third column, which is the Knight of Wands, which, if you know me, I don't think of the Knight of Wands as a player. I think of the Knight of Wands as a spiritual warrior. So I just thought that was beautiful. This popped out too. And then we have the Nine of Wands. Try saying that really fast. Knight of Wands and Nine of Wands. Knight of Wands and Nine of Wands. Anyway, I'm such a crazy person. But anyway, so this as our energy and our skill and what we have around us, these are both energies that are very firm in what they believe, and they're passionate about expressing it, and they're protective. So this is the energy that we possess, right? Right now we're in that Fool and Sun energy because, we're chill, we're happy about it. We're not letting it, we're unbothered by the task, right? We are excited about the task, but underneath it and deep inside, there is this right? There's this passion and need and, just drive for it. And at the same time, we're protective, right? And so the outcome here is we have the Queen of Pentacles and we have the Page of Cups. So the Queen of Pentacles, like, she is kind of like that in a way. She's unbothered. This is somebody who's very stable, but also very nurturing, very connected to the earth. But she's also, got the finer details in order. She's not, just kind of willy-nilly about things. Marrying that chillness and then the excitement of the Page of Cups, because the Page of Cups is about exploration of creativity and, those watery feelings like creativeness and love and spirituality. So this is very much, blending those two, groundedness and the love and the passion for the spirituality. So I feel like this is saying, whoever this is, or whatever, whether this is a collective or whatever, I feel like this is totally saying that, you know, we're on this beautiful path and we have all these gifts because of our passion. Follow your passion and do it in a way that, you know, you can live that life. Maybe this is trying to tell you, you know, pursue this career. If you have been kind of on the fence about pursuing some type of creative project where it could be a career for you, or even if it's like creating some type of, you know, spiritual or, you know, humanitarian type of thing, do it. I feel like we're being told to do that. So I ranted and raved, and I'm so sorry, but I just feel really good about this one, and it means a lot to me. So I hope this helps somebody other than me, and I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.